It's really nice to see you again after a very successful day. I hope we will be giving you the flavor of AI in education through this short talk. Usually, we provide the topic that we talk about in 15 minutes and have the discussion within that framework. But for today, purpose for the management, we will give the presentation, and I would love to hear your research, your question and discussion afterward with the respected colleague on the board here. So my name is Rawad Hamad. I'm senior lecturer and also the research leader of Technology Enhanced Learning Research Group at the University of East London. The topic that we'll be talking about today is very, very instrumental topic, talking about the AI in education, and it's not something that we can ignore. All of us are educators. If we work at university, if we work at school, if we talk about our children, brothers, sisters, family members, so we always have a role in this process. We always have a role to teach other people, give them the essence of what they do, what they learn, how they learn, and so on. So we'll be looking into how can we make this process easier and more effective for all of us, and also lead to fruitful outcomes. So AI has been for a while now, and then it has been defined many definitions, but the easiest way to describe AI is to tell that AI is a technology that can mimic the human behavior and trying to make intelligent decisions that we are looking at. And it provides to be a transformative force in our daily life. We have been using some of the tools that we are using at the moment in education and also outside education domain. Many of these tools have influence on our daily life. And I can just give an example of the large language model, which is the application, which is ChatGPT, for example, and other tools that people have been using it for many months now, since almost 2 to 3 years, and they have changed the life the way that they do the task and so on. So we'd like to look into these changes and what challenges we can talk about and how can we move forward with that technology. Now, you have seen this snapshot multiple times in today's session and also previous sessions. So we will be talking about SDG number 4, quality education. Now, SDG number 4 is the cornerstone for every other SDG goal. So you can't have decent job or good economic growth, which is SDG number 8, without having proper education. You can't have partnership, which is 17, without having education appropriately in place, and also other SDGs as well. They rely heavily on the education. So we'll look into that and see what kind of key information and key consideration we need to look into. So the key highlight that I'm trying to give under the framework of SDG goal number 4 is we need to look at a sustainable way to increase the skills that we acquire our student with, either technical skill, vocational skills. How do we engage them? How do we make them ready for their employment, for the next stage? We also need to eliminate the gender disparities, which is a very important topic that have been in place now for a while. We also need to look at the knowledge and skill needed to promote what we now say sustainable development for societies, for individuals, and also for communities. And finally, we need to look into the inclusivity of what we do at the universities and also at the other educational institution. Now, if you have seen these indicators before, this is the SDG indicator. We have every SDG from 1 up to 17. We have few indicators underneath each one of them, and you can see the color coded here. You can look at the green one, which refer that we have data about certain aspect. And if you look at the amber one, which means the data it somehow is incomplete or not very high quality. And if you have seen the red one, then this means that we don't have any data about it. Now, if we look into this from a small micro view here, look at the institutional wise, do we have institutional data about the education that covers every single aspect that we talk about? Now, look at the national view and then look at the international view. You realized how much complicated this view is. It's too much. It's very instrumental for us to look into the data, try to use the data to inform the decision that we will take, And this is something we haven't been doing very well so far. There is a progress in that, but we still need to populate the data, get the data in the right place, try to make the data or to put the data in the proper system so we can get the decision that we would like to get. Now, let's look at the educational system and opportunities that we have. So we have at the moment various stages that we see. One of these stages are the pre-education, and then the preschool, and then the school, primary and secondary, and then finally we get the higher education institution. Now we have disconnectivity between these systems, and this disconnectivity is because mainly the stages that we have in the way that we built our educational system, the way we transform the education from the old days till now. Now, the main challenge here is when I leave my preschool to the primary school or the secondary or to the higher education, I almost pretty much leave everything except the skills and knowledge that I learn. Now, the profile I built, the knowledge I built, the experience I had previous years, and so on, is still not recognized in the system. And this is very important for the higher education and also primary and secondary as well, to get the education transformed in a way that can be suitable for the learners. We don't need to talk about one-size-fits-all model where we come to the stage, teach students the same topic, and then we presume that all of them are maintaining the same level of knowledge, the same level of experience. That is not the case in many situations. And this is just only in a classroom, in a single classroom. And if you would like to replicate that and talk about students in different classes, different schools, different areas, that will get much, much more complex. The other thing is the community's contribution to the education process. That is very fundamental to our next generation. We don't look at the education at the moment as just as a one-way waterfall approach. Communities need to have their says in the education. They have culture, they have goals, they have characteristics, they have some what we call embedded identity, and they need to maintain that. They need to feed into the process of education and try to get things done in the right way. And the other two factors, the readiness for the work environment, which is also a big challenge at the moment, as we will see some statistics in the next slide talking about to what extent our graduates are ready to the current working environment. And also if they are not 100% ready for the work today, what's going to happen in the future work? The context of the future work is going to be very, very challenging. Now, let's talk about a few educational statistics here. Unfortunately, some of the typos are there, but it's just talking about the shift that we would like to give to our students. So we have, as we all know, we teach students various skills. One of these skills related to the ability to remember, the ability to apply theory, and then being also able to have what we call a higher cognitive skill, like being reflective, being able to create something new and innovative, and so on. So the current trend is we were talking about the shift toward equipping our student with lots of higher cognitive skills to be not just only able to recall and remember the information we told them, they need to be able to apply and also create what we call creative artifact. They will need to deal also with the automation, because automation will take over many, many jobs that we have at the moment. The decline in the what we call straightforward tasks like data entry, data processing task is being recognized now across the globe. So in the United States only, we have 19% decline in the job, we call them basic jobs. And in Europe and also the other places, we have seen much, much higher, 20%, 23%, and this is going to be higher in the future, which means that the jobs that we have at the moment will no longer sustain in this current form. The employer also estimate that 44% of workers' skill will be disrupted in the next 5 years. And we're just talking about 5 years, not a decade or a couple of decades, which means if we don't educate our student in the way that we want, then they will never find a job. That is their final destination that they will have. Just an example from the PwC, they estimate by mid-2030, which is just only a year or two from now on, 30% of the job could be automated. That is something we need to look into Very, very important. So what AI can do for me? We have just highlighted a few use cases here. These use cases, for example, I can use AI to personalize my learning journey. So rather than me looking at the same lesson that you or any one of you are looking at the moment, we can personalize the skill that we would like to learn through the AI tool. We can also enhance the e-learner experience or the learner experience. And Professor Manuel just talked for me about how do we engage students, how we apply certain tool in order to get the learners to the next level. We also develop what we call adaptive tutor system. Adaptive tutoring system means that you don't need to rely on the same content presented to you and others. You can also create your own learning journey. We have also some other tools that are designed, developed for not just only student, for the lecturer, for the professors, and for the management, like, for example, automated grading and feedback. These will minimize the effort that will be dedicated to marking, managing the process, so we can focus more on teaching and giving the appropriate skills to our student. The AI-driven course recommendation is one of the things that we are also looking at the moment. So you have LinkedIn Learning, for example, and you can look at LinkedIn Learning, and you have plenty of resources. So it's not 100 years ago that you need to find an opportunity to join one course. Now you have possibly thousands of courses just at the tip of your finger. So which one of them is more appropriate to you? That's a very, very essential question. Before we start reading and studying, we need to look at these courses. The career guidance is a very important thing. And the last thing that I would like to come up with is the predictive analytics. So one of the things that we have in the higher education is we call them the retention problem. So students join universities and they stop after a while. This costs universities and higher education institutions a lot of money. So what we do with the predictive analytics, we analyze the history of the student, look at what they have done in the past, what they are doing at the moment, and then predict, are they going to stop their study? Are you going to continue? And if they need any support, we make somehow proactive intervention to help them to stay on track. Now, there are so many solutions that we have, but there are challenges as well. So AI is also facing a huge, tremendous problem in the bias, because we look at the data. Data is always or always have the bias that we have, because we collect data. We probably do not have the data in the appropriate form. The ethics of using AI, analyzing the data without getting the proper consent from the users, this is also another big challenge for us. Looking at the data privacy is one of the things that we will be working with. Also, the coexistence of artificial intelligence artifact with the current system. This is very, very important topic, and upskilling staff and students, because we need to do that. To address all of these issues, we have introduced the AI framework in order to allow the quality education. So the framework we focus on will provide a comprehensive view, will focus on the technology, people, processes, institution, and data. So among these 5 elements, you will keep moving from one to another to make sure that AI is not a technology only. AI is just only and I would say an instrument to use in order to achieve the goal that you would like to achieve. So selecting the proper AI tool is the main task that we would like to look at. How do we select the proper tool? Look at the people, the skill they have. Look at also at the same time what process we have at the institution that will enable learners to learn, will enable also lecturers and management team to work with. Look at the institution, their policy, what they do have, the budget, the cost, etc., and also the data that you will also have. A very important topic that we need to look into is having a long-term AI strategy for the institution. If we don't have that, then we will be struggling a lot. We need to provide a customized learning experience. That customized learning experience needs to be adaptive and flexible to give to every user. We will focus also on the lifelong learning, because that is one of the essential skills that we will have, and also try to adopt what we call data-driven organization best practices. Because if I have data and I take data-informed decision, then I should be able to make a good benefit to my all stakeholders, including student and staff. And finally, look at the effective and agile process, where we always improve and come back to our best practices and improve them to make or deliver a student-centered learning journey. The collaboration between academia and industry need to be focused more and more now, because we have seen the tool developed by industrial partners. They are not always at the best interest of our education, and universities need to be very, very proactive in that direction. We need to look at the regulations and ethics of our process that we will follow. Look at the aspect of the local, national, international context. We no longer now teaching a student in a certain place. We look at international dimension of what we do. So we will try to be connected more and more from now on to our societies. We look at merging AI with different technologies, including blockchain, virtual reality, to utilize our space better and provide our education to the future generation. Finally, we look at the AI as a very big opportunity for us, but also very, very risky. We might lose many opportunities if we don't apply AI in the appropriate tool. These are the key references I have used in the report, so hopefully they will be useful for you if you'd like to use some of them. And that is finally one of the pictures that we might see in our future institutions. So they will no longer have the classes that crowded with 700 students in the same room, theaters, and so on. We'll look for more flexible and more adaptive learning spaces. So this, I think we conclude here. Thank you so much for the attendance, and I will stop here because we will have the question and answer at the end.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rawan Hamad.